Hello and welcome to Miss Charlotte Astrology. My name is Charlotte. I'm a full-time working astrologer, and on this channel I analyze the astrological charts of public figures, and very often they are celebrities, and they normally come in the form of actors, artists, musicians, royals, politicians, and the occasional serial killer. But today I'll be analyzing the chart of someone who I guess is more infamous than they are famous. I'll be looking at the astrological chart of adult content creator Bonnie Blue, who I feel like is constantly in the news cycle for some kind of provocative project. I don't want to go through what she's famous for. If you're clicking on, you know exactly what she's famous for. I've never once consumed her content. Obviously, it's not made for me, but I feel like I feel like everything I know about her I've learned against my will. For some reason her little Instagram videos or TikToks come across me and I'm like ugh. But anyway, I do find her quite intriguing because she is a very ruthless personality. Like, she's willing to exploit herself and others at whatever cost. Like, she's there for the bag. So I wanted to look at her placements and try and figure out what's going on with her. And yeah, try to figure her out, even though I don't agree with anything she does. By the way, I just want to put it out there because before I ever was an astrologer, I was a teacher, and I still am a teacher at my core, and I'm here to protect the children. If you somehow, as an adult content creator, are trying to weave anything related to children into that area, your line of work, you are a disgusting, despicable human being. And yeah, so yeah, I'm being judgmental because I'm here for the children. We have to protect the children. You don't do that. Anyway, I just had to put it out there because I don't want to be on here making it seem like I approve of what she's doing. I don't. I find it disgusting. Okay. Before I dive in, I just want you guys to know I have another class coming up. I just did a class last week on the fourth house, or the IC. It was very successful, and I love teaching, and I'm going to start segueing into doing more educational content. So or at least doing more classes as well, and doing less reading. So if you would like to come to my next class, it will be in July 24th. It's linked below, and it will be on the ascendant or the first house, and we'll be looking at planetary aspects to the planetary aspects to the ascendant, planetary placements in the first house, and of course celebrity examples and all the signs of the zodiac on that ascendant, first house cusp on that ascendant. So if that interests you, you'd love to meet me and pick my brain, I would love to see you there. It's a 45-minute presentation, and then we have 75 minutes of Q&A, and it goes really, really quickly because when you're having a good time, when you're having a fun time, time just moves really quickly. So I would love to see you there, and thank you. If you don't want to do that and you would just like a reading, for the moment I still offer them. There's 15-minute readings, they're full chart readings, synastry readings, transit readings, and I do 5-minute focus readings for specific areas of your life or specific parts of a chart. And I also do astrocartography readings as well. And then I do have a YouTube membership. So it's just £5 a month, and there's extra content on there. If you don't want to do any of that, but you still love to support me, please like, subscribe, comment, click the bell. I'd be very, very grateful if you could help me with this algorithm. Okay? Let me just have my tea. All right. Let's talk about Bonnie Blue. We do not have a rising sign. We don't have houses. We don't have a full chart. But we're going to try and understand it as best we can. So she is a Sun and Mercury and Moon in Taurus. And then she's got Saturn here and Pallas Athena. So this is what you call a stellium. It's when you have a collection of 3 or more planets in the same sign or potentially the same house. And yeah, just a very, very heavy Venusian energy. Okay. Her Venus is in Cancer. And then she's got this Mars at 27 degrees in Libra. It's retrograde and it's squared off with Neptune and opposed by Jupiter. So yes, she's got some interesting placements. All right. Ooh, let's talk about this Mars. No, okay. So Mars in astrology, it is the phallus. Okay, it is the pee-pee. It represents your like those masculine desires, those masculine urges, like war and anger, and of course, sex. So hers is in Libra, which is a pretty submissive sign. It's not the best sign to have Mars, because Mars rules the opposite sign. It actually rules Aries. So when it's here, this is someone who generally is going to fight for the peace. If they're going to get aggressive, they're going to get passive aggressive, okay? And if it's retrograde, it's going to be inappropriately expressed. Your anger or your sexual desires, your sexual urges may be expressed in an inappropriate manner, especially if they're squared off. This girl with Neptune squared Mars, she lies to herself, and she lies to herself in regards to her addictions and her desires. You know what's really interesting is that in her own mind, she's fighting for something bigger than herself. Like I think she does fancy herself as someone who fights for justice and what is right. And she thinks what she does is okay. She has a very skewed perception. She has a very skewed moral compass. Let's just say that. Neptune, this guy here, is the planet of illusions. It's the planet that's associated with like religion, right? It's heaven, but it's also hell. It's also addiction. It's also sacrifice. Like it's the planet that's in charge of Pisces. So as much light as there is with this energy, there's also a lot of dark. And it's a malefic planet, right? So if Neptune is squaring Mars, if Neptune's squaring a personal planet, that person is going to be delusional. They're also susceptible to scandal. And listen, if you have this placement, I'm not saying this is you, but is associated with perversions and disgrace. And those perversions can lead to disgrace. So yeah, I think that she has a very shonky moral compass. I think she has some really dark sexual desires, perversions. I think that she thinks that she's doing the right thing. And those are the scariest people. The scariest people are the ones who do bad stuff, but they think that they're doing the right thing. They're the worst. She's one of those people. So yeah. She's got to be careful where she throws that thing. She's got to be careful where she's throwing that thing around willy-nilly. She's not particular about who she shares her body with. She's not like, this is dangerous. She's playing Russian roulette with her health. Yeah. If she hasn't caught anything, she's very, very lucky. I feel like she must have already, surely. Surely. Then this opposition with Jupiter, I would love to know where that Jupiter is. But there's this tension here. Very competitive, very charming, because I've seen her, and I don't know why, but again, everything that I've seen of her has been against my will. But I've seen her interactions with, are they clients? Are they the people that she films with, these strangers? She is very good at like talking to an audience. And she is very charismatic, and she can command a room, and she seems so calm and chill. Like there's very confident, very, I mean, dare I say courageous, but courageous in all the wrong ways. Like courageous as in you're exposing you're courageous as in you're making yourself the center of a mass spreader event. Yeah, it's courageous in the wrong way. But yeah, a Jupiter-Mars opposition does indicate someone who's competitive and courageous at their own detriment. And if you combine that with the square, making stupid decisions that could hurt your health or hurt other people, yeah. She's happy to literally lay her body on the line for something so superficial that in her mind is something great, is something noble, is something like, it's just so dark. It's so dark. Ugh. Anyway, I would love to know what houses these are in, because these are some heavy, heavy aspects to that Mars. And also Mars is Venusian. She's got all these planets right. She's got a Taurus stellium ruled by Venus, and then her Mars is in another Venusian sign. So she is all about pleasure. She's all about serving. A Mars in Libra is it's a placement that is submissive. and wants people to enjoy themselves and wants everyone to keep the peace. I mean, she's taken that to another level, but that's what she does. Yeah, pretty dark. And it's the Mars is in a trine with the Venus. It's just when, I mean, I know that her Venus is in Cancer and her Mars is in Libra. You'd usually think they're squared, but because she's got a late degree Mars and an early degree Venus, they form a trine. It's a nice alignment. Her values, her values, what she finds attractive, what she wants, are nicely aligned with her sexual desires, her motivation. So it's an alignment. That's probably why she's very abundant, why she makes a lot of money. Okay. Now let's talk about all this Taurus, ruthless Taurus. Have you ever met a Taurus stellium? Oh, they love luxury, they love money, they love to eat, they love to, you know, they love pleasure. They're very connected to their senses. They're very hedonistic in that way. Taurus is another sign that is associated with sex, and it is ruled by Venus. It's a sign that enjoys pleasure, and given she has so much here, I'm not surprised that she works in an industry that is about giving and receiving pleasure. You know, in Greek mythology, Venus is considered the divine prostitute in Greek mythology. So that's kind of the energy she gives off here. So she has Saturn with this mix. Saturn gives her discipline. I will give her that. The woman is disciplined. She works very hard. She's just really good at the hustle. And wherever you have Saturn may indicate where you get some kind of public attention, acclaim. So given that she's got all these planets, she's got Mercury in a conjunction with Saturn too. So she's also famous for what she says. As a woman that I don't consume her content on her OnlyFans. Obviously, I don't. But I keep seeing her. I keep seeing her on podcasts or talking about the industry or whatever. I'm always seeing her talk, and she is pretty articulate, and she's as cool as a cucumber. I've not seen her cry or lose her cool. Part of me thinks it's because she might be a bit of a psychopath or something, like she has no feelings. Anyway, but yeah, Saturn with Mercury, famous for talking, or known for what she says, as upsetting as it is. She has the moon not too far. A moon and Saturn in a conjunction here. It just depends on what time she was born. But ooh, something's up with her family. She talks about how her family are really stable and supportive, and how it's like a family business, like her family are involved. Ugh, that's so weird. I'd love to know what house this is in, but I don't know. But Saturn and the moon together, it's almost... And if you have Saturn and the moon, it can indicate that you had to grow up really quickly in the home, but it can also indicate that you're stagnated emotionally. It's like that Taylor Swift song. What does she say? What'd she say? So when you grow up precocious, you end up never really growing up at all. There's a lyric, something like that. And I think that might be the case with her. And then she's got all these squares with Uranus and Neptune. It's combustible. It's like an explosion here. She's never really ever going to get the approval of the general public. She's never going to get that. I think she kind of likes it because it makes her money. The controversy makes her money. Generational planets squaring personal placements means that you're going to have a clash with the public. You're going to be upsetting people. Uranus is the planet, and it's in Aquarius. It's in the sign it governs. The South Node with Uranus could indicate early fame, or early recognition, early acclaim, very often at the detriment of the person if it's squared. It's very uneasy. And then she's also got that Neptune square as well. There's an element of delusion that keeps her successful. That's why she is probably doing really well. She lies to herself. She absolutely is very she's self-deceptive. Um, when someone tells so many lies, they start believing their own lies. I think that's what she does. I think she now truly believes that what she's doing is like a really good thing for the world when it's abundantly clear it's the opposite. Anyway, Neptune square Mercury. Neptune's. Oh, another one that could indicate trouble with the body, trouble with the mind. Yeah, no one likes what she says either. Generational planets that represent like society, the public. Neptune represents religion, belief, all those things I mentioned earlier, even sacrifice. Uranus is the network and like the internet, right? So if they're not getting along with these Taurus, these personal Taurus placements, she's always going to come under fire. She's never really going to get approval from anybody. And at the moment she enjoys it, but she might be in danger. And not just because she could make herself sick with being sexually irresponsible, but having too much fame, having like if she upsets people, and not to say that she would ever deserve anything bad happen to her, but this could be dangerous. It looks pretty dangerous. She needs some security. It doesn't look pleasant. I do think at some point she's gonna have to leave this because her North Node is in Leo. She's going to have to be known for something else. She's going to have to evolve. This South Node with Neptune and Uranus is like early fame, and that comes from the fame comes because of the lack of boundaries. Obviously, like Neptune's here, like it's like the beginning of her life starts with an earthquake and a flood. And then as she gets older, she has to learn how to swim out of it, and she needs to find something more stable. And Vesta is the asteroid that represents sacred protection. I hope she can find something stable. I really wish that for her. Yeah. And it's the ruler of the North Node is the Sun, and then it's with all these Taurus placements with Saturn. So I think that she just might make a bunch of money, invest it. She talked about how she has a lot of properties. She'll be fine financially, but she's going to have to leave. It will become too much. She hasn't had her Saturn return is 3 years away. We'll see what happens then. Usually Saturn return is when you have a career change. So anyway, I would love to know where this Pluto and Chiron and Lilith and Juno are all at. You Gen Zs that have this, it's wild. You guys are really, like, you really took raunch culture and you really made it your own with this. Like, yeah. And actually, you guys born in the the very late 90s, very early 2000s, you were born into raunch culture. Like, I remember 2003 very clearly. Like, that's why you guys are the way you are. Anyway, yeah, she's very stubborn. I think something bad has to happen to her for her to change her mind and to change her tune and to change careers. And it likely will happen because that Saturn return is going to slap her very, very hard. I do think she might make a lot of money during this period, but Saturn returns are always painful. They can be the best time of your life, but they're also the worst simultaneously. It's a rough time, especially when you've got planets there. You know what? Venus in Cancer, I was so surprised because Venus in Cancer is like wants a traditional loving relationship. And I was very flippant and I said, oh, she might be a psychopath. Part of me thinks she might be, but this is a great Venus placement. And this is Venus in Cancer wants to be loved and wants to be held and wants to be fed and wants to be nurtured. And maybe it's just something that she neglects in herself. Anyway, I would love to have her full chart. If I could just have her birth time, it's going to tell me a lot more. But yeah, all that ruthlessness, that's all the Taurus. And this horribly placed retrograde Mars in Libra. Anyway. Thank you so much, guys. That's all I have for you. If we ever get her birth time, I'll redo the chart because I would love to know where these placements are playing out. All right, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.